fuel. But where does the fuel come from to get into the pump? It is loaded from some international place because our refinery at Tema is able to do some. It's not able to refine all the oil, all the petroleum products that we need in Ghana. So there are some refined products, very, very little, sometimes nothing from Ghana. Everything is imported from Aburokyire. So you go to, there are international companies, Trafigura, Glencore, blah, blah, blah. All of these BDCs go and take fuel from there and then bring it to Ghana and then you sell. The thing about fuel is that you can never make losses. You will never make losses because it's a consumable that we always need all the time. Not just for our cars, but for many, many things, for our energy, fuel, all of that. So all you need to do is to go and bring the fuel with a bank credit and then send it to the pump. And then when we go and pay, and you can't credit fuel in Ghana, you have to pay cash. Well, for most of us, a few companies can credit, but they always pay. So we go to the pump and pay, so the money is available. So fuel is not something that you take from one end and it will remain in your hand. Once you take it from the other end, you'll be able to dispose of it at the other end and get your money. So that's fuel. It's a very good business. So this is how it comes. So tanks, fuel comes in here, into these tanks. Some are privately owned, some are owned by companies, some are owned by different people. But this is the real McCoy of the business. Whoever has a tank farm is the controller of the business. He is king. Tank farm is king in the petroleum distribution chain. The tank farm is king. Okay, so it comes into the tank here. And then it goes into the truck, the fuel truck. And then the fuel truck then distributes it to the pump. Okay, so let's discuss the question of taxation. What governments have done over the years all over the world is that they put taxes on petroleum because that's one of the surest ways to get money. So when you buy petrol for X amount, there's an amount that you pay for at the pump, which is not just for the petrol. When they build the petrol and you say 1 gallon is water and they say 1 gallon is 3 cedis and you pay 3 cedis, that 3 cedis is more than the cost of the actual fuel. Government has put taxes on it because government needs to raise money. All over the world, governments do that. From time immemorial, governments do that. So when you buy fuel for 5 cedis, you have paid maybe 2 cedis as taxes and 3 cedis for the fuel. So you go to the pump and you say, I want 3 gallons. And they say 3 gallons is 15 cedis. It's not 15 cedis. 3 gallons may be 9 cedis. But there's the tax builder that makes it 15 cedis. So whatever they tell you at the pump is the price of the fuel plus the taxes that government has imposed on it through Parliament and through other levies here and there. So you pay sanitation levy, this, that. All of that goes through Parliament and it's approved. So at the pump, what you pay, the pump people take their money and then they here give the rest to government. Okay, what about the one who has the tank farm? He's the big player. And I said before that the tank farm is king in the petroleum distribution chain. So the tank farm guy, he takes fuel from here and he distributes fuel to the truck to go. When he is done, however much fuel he distributed to the trucks, he declares it to the Ghana Revenue Authority. He said, I distributed fuel of 100 million gallons to the truck, is gone. So the money will come back to me, 100 million gallons will come back to me, and I owe you taxes. So the Ghana Revenue Authority goes to this guy and says, how much fuel did you distribute? He says, I distributed X. And based on that X, he's taxed. The question here then is, the declaration that is made by this tank farm man about how much fuel he has put here always becomes the problem. So I'm trying to explain the problem. So you are sitting in Ministry of Finance. Tank farm man says, I distributed 100 million. Okay. He actually tells that information to the National Petroleum Authority. He does. He gives that information to the NPA. And then the NPA will give it to the GRA. And then that's how he's taxed. This is the situation. GRA and government become worried that how do we know that when the guy says to NPA that I distributed 400 million gallons or metric tons, it is actually 400 million because the declaration that he's making for the purposes of taxation. And knowing human beings and given the way we all are, it is very likely that human beings are going to be tempted that something that they are declaring for the purpose of taxation, they will under-declare. That's the situation. Human beings will be tempted to under-declare whatever, and that's human nature. It's not a problem. It's the nature of human beings. We always want to keep a bit more. So anything that people are declaring, that's why sometimes you are in your shop, you sell rice at a rice master in some shop. One day you are there, some nice guy wearing a white shirt, usually short sleeve with tie. They show up and say, this is my name. I'm from the Ghana Revenue Authority. I've come to check your wares. Why do they do that? They do that because they are not sure that whatever you are telling us month after month, year after year about how much rice you've sold, that you are declaring it correctly, because human beings are wont to under-declare when it's for the purpose of taxation. It's not that human beings are bad. This is human beings' nature. It's like eating and taking a shower and all of that. It's human beings' nature. Once there's opportunity to do that, there's temptation that a certain percentage, it may be small, but they will do that. So Ghana Revenue Authority sends their officers to the nook and crannies to enter the shops and say that, let me look at your wares. And then they'll calculate, today is what? Thursday, end of the month. You have 16 bags of rice here. At the end of the month, you have 16 bags of rice. We will assume that every month you sell 20 bags of rice. We'll tax you on 20 bags of rice. And then it becomes pool make a pool, as they say in Pidgin, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it's that same principle. What is the guarantee that the guy here is actually giving you the figures that are correct so that you can do the taxes? Now, enter SML. As a result of this problem, and this is an age-old problem, and this is a problem that people benefit from. That's the key. And I'm not so sure whether the journalists who did the work were hired by people who are benefiting from this, or that they did not notice that some people benefit from this. We'll get there in the conversation. So there are people who can benefit from it. If they distribute 500 and they tell MPA that, MPA is the National Petroleum Authority, and they tell MPA that we have distributed 400, they will pay taxes on 400. The rest of the 100, they don't pay taxes on it. This is the problem that the government observed. Every government has observed it. Every government tried to do that. There's been revenue assurance in all sectors, from Kojo Ban, reduced time, in the telecom sector. Almost every sector we have tried to do revenue assurance. That's what Suba was doing at the telecom center. Now the NCA has built facilities in NCA to be able to do that themselves, because a revenue assurance is always very, very important, and it is necessary. Revenue assurance is necessary. I'm not so sure whether people who did the documentary didn't understand it, but revenue assurance occurs everywhere in the global world. Okay, so this is how SML came in. So SML comes in to come and sit in between the tank farm and the truck. At the stage where the tank farm is discharging into the truck fuel, SML is there to tell VRA that we were here. And this company, this particular company, could be anyone, distributed 50 million gallons of fuel. So they write to GRA, 50 million from Tank Farm 1, 70 million from Tank Farm 2, 100 million GRA. You should be expecting this amount of tax revenue. That's what SML is put here to do. Because these tank farmers will report to the NPA by themselves, and together with the NPA, they will do that. But we will show you in this presentation that reportage to the NPA is not sufficient for the calculation and tabulation of taxes that are due and should accrue to the government at the Ghana Revenue Authority. So this is why SML was brought in, to sit here. Why SML? That's another story in terms of technology. Do they have the resources, the technology to put it up? It's a technological issue, and the GRA board and the Ministry of Finance that gave them the contract must have observed their technological strength. If the documentary was talking about they not having the technological strength to do it, it would have been better. So these are some of the equipment, as you see on the screen, that are applied by them. They have to install it. They have to install it at the tank farm and install it in the systems of the petroleum people, so that they know, it's like metering. So they know how much fuel has been delivered from this tank farm into the truck and is going to the Total, the Shell, the Goil, for all of us to buy, so that Ghana Revenue Authority does not need to wait for the NPA, who is actually not looking at taxes. NPA is looking at quality of fuel. That's what NPA will be looking at. We'll come there. Okay, so this is where SML sits. I'm being signaled that I have to move on. All right, so the SML story is here. So before SML came in, viewers, at the average, this is between 2018 and 2019, the reporting was 350 million liters of fuel per month is what was reported throughout 2018 and 2019 at the average. 350 million liters of fuel was reported, and these facts I'm giving you are verifiable. I'm not so sure why documentary makers, they don't look at this. This seems to be the crux of the matter. I'm not sure why they didn't look at this, but we'll talk about that. So 350 million liters of fuel per month was being reported in 2018 and 2019. This before SML came in. Let's see after SML came in what is happening. So after, we put it here. Now, after SML came in, 450 million liters per month as of June 2020. This indicates a rise of more than 33% in volume reporting, and an average of an extra 100 million liters per month, which translates into revenue. Is that not shocking to you, viewers? Is that not shocking? Did the documentary makers see this? You see, when you're a journalist and you allow yourself to be hired by bad, evil, demonic people, you will not look at this. Because people who are benefiting from the system, they always do that. We get that all the time. They always come to a journalist and say, come and say this because they've lost a business or something. The journalist has to be intelligent enough because of the role you occupy as the fourth estate. You should be intelligent enough to be able to look through the matter and ask them questions. What is the problem? What problem are we solving? What is the issue? If you do that, you will not put out a documentary that has so many factual inaccuracies. That is embarrassing to journalism. These things they do, I don't know why they always do that. Why do you put your work there as a journalist and people come and tell you that what you said is factually inaccurate? How do you feel about that? I don't even get it. A serious work, if you are joking about something, I said Solomon Mengo went to Presec, he went to Bishop Eman, that's okay. But you put up your work, like the work we do, all the documentaries we do, you put up your work and then somebody comes and says, this one is factually wrong. Something that could have been checked. That's something that ought to have been aware. You ought to have been aware. Something that was within your disposal. When you do that, you embarrass the profession. People look at us and they disrespect us because they think we are not intelligent. Because if you are intelligent, this is very basic. But why don't you look at it? Anyway, so 450 million is what is now being reported after SML came in. Where was the 100 million going? The 100 million liters, where was it going? That's the problem. It was being lost to the state. And the Minister of Finance of Ferrata and his people come in and said, look, we are going to do assurance. And it's done in many parts of the world. The reason why you can't do that in England and you can't do it in America, they have quality assurance right there. And it's reported, sometimes published on websites all over the place. This is what has happened. 450 million is what is being reported now. Plus 100 million liters was not being reported. It wasn't being reported because there was no SML. SML were not there. They were not standing here. It was only this man and that man. And they can decide what they tell GRA. Now SML is there. So SML is telling GRA that no, they are lying. They are not delivering 350. They are delivering 450. So GRA can calculate his taxes on 450. Now, what is wrong with this project? We're going to get into it. Why there has to be a documentary to bastardize the company, set out, and the story is so bizarre. Set out people, the man says that he didn't know he was being recorded, something. I mean, I'm not going to deal with that. That's okay. I'm going to deal with the people who confronted the situation without properly drawing out the facts to give to their audience. And we're just talking about something, setting up an agenda, something steeped in evil as always. Anyway. All right. So now this is the situation between the MPA and SML. Somebody asked the question, and that came up, that the MPA is already doing that, and that SML is duplicating what the MPA does. So we went into that and spoke to MPA people, spoke to customs people, and spoke to the SML people. And this is what we found out across the conversations. MPA's purpose of receiving that data, the information of how much petrol has been set out, is for the purpose of monitoring markets for policy formulation and standard compliance. So MPA is looking at the product and being sure that there's no water in the fuel. When you say you are doing V-Power, you're actually doing V-Power. And then when you distribute the fuel, they look at it and see that at Christmas time, more was distributed here. So when it's Christmas, we should do more. MPA's purpose is not for taxes. MPA's purpose is for policy formulation and standards compliance. That's what MPA does. So when the documentary maker says that SML is duplicating MPA's work, it just means that they were actually very, very lazy. They didn't go beyond. They were just too lazy. And that's the thing they say about us journalists all the time. You people are lazy. You people are lazy. Why do you do this? Always making the younger generation of journalists struggle with image, because you are dissipating the image with this kind of poor documentaries. Very, very poor work. Can't you do work for people to applaud? What is this? You look at MPA. There are so many lawyers in Ghana. There are so many people in petroleum industry in Ghana. You can go to any of them and say that, what does MPA do and what? Because journalists don't know everything. We don't know everything. But you have to have the presence of mind that because you are going to educate people, you have to ask. And the people who are listening to us, some of them are knowledgeable. They always turn off their radio and get angry in their car. That what are they blowing? They are blowing hogwash. They don't even know what they are talking about. Don't be a journalist that you talk and people say you don't know what you are talking about. You are dissipating the image of the profession. Manasseh, is you I'm talking about. Stop that. Every day you do something is wrong. The last time you said VRA gave contract, they said they didn't give contract. Today you say something and Ghana Revenue Authority comes out. They say they didn't do that. You say contract is 5 years. They say no. You say it's 10 years. They say no, it's 5 years. It's on the document. Didn't you read the document? I mean, why? What is all this? Well, SML is here. They are there specifically to find the information for the purposes of tax monitoring. Taxes. They are looking at how much taxes is due. How much taxes should accrue to the GRA? That's their work. They are checking the fuel for the purpose of taxes. So all they are checking is how much fuel did you deliver. They are not even going into, is it good fuel? Is it fuel and water? Have you add ajongo to it? Have you add cooking oil to it? What is happening? They are not doing that. They don't have the capacity to do that. All they have been asked to do is to find out how much was sent so that we can tax them. NPA is doing something else and something perhaps more important, which is to find out the assurance of the standards of the fuel in the tank. So they are asking us, send us that data. So they are doing two different things. And when we were told that there's a duplication, we were interested in the duplication story. So we began to investigate it, and then we came across this. And it was people who told us, people we called and said, listen, you have been in petroleum for that long. Explain to us, what does NPA do? Then they explain, and this one explains, oh, we got the idea, we understand it now. That's all. That's what journalism is about. You ask questions, don't you? Anyway, so this is what they do. So that's why you can see that there's a difference there's a difference between the two of them. Now here's the contract. Okay, I'll go to this. This is a Ministry of Public Procurement Authority. This is from the Public Procurement Authority, signed by Frank Mante. Let's see the details about the contract. Okay, it's here. It says, we refer to your letter number so and so and dated 20th September 2023, and our subsequent response number so and dated 26th September 2023 on the above subject matter. At the 46th board meeting of the 5th PPA board held on Wednesday, 20th September 2023, the board granted approval to Ghana Revenue Authority to use the single source procurement method in accordance with section so and so as amended to re-engage the services of measures Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited SML for the expansion of scope of work to include upstream petroleum products and minerals and metal resources value chain audit, verification and monitoring for a duration of 5 years at a service fee of $0.75 per barrel of petroleum products per month and 0.75% of the total volume value of mineral resources monitored by SML Nova exported per month. This letter supersedes our approval letter of date so and so. This is another letter, isn't it? This is another letter. So this is the first letter. So SML were already working. Now, because they were able to report from 350 to 450, the Ghana Revenue Authority decided that we should add more to their work. Now they are monitoring what they call in the petroleum industry downstream. Downstream is the retail, the one that we go and buy. Upstream is the people who are digging. They are exploring and digging the oil from the ground. I don't know. They are ground, but they call them upstream. This is on the ground, but we call it downstream. What can you do? It's terminologies of the experts in the industry. So downstream is the retail. Upstream is the one that they are inside the water, under the water, bringing up oil. Now, the work of SML was so well appreciated that it was determined and decided that they should also go and do petroleum downstream. That's where the problem came. The problem of corruption. That is where the corruptors were sounded. The alarm bells started sounding in the mind of the corrupt people that, hey, we are going to be in trouble. The thing they've done to downstream, they are bringing it here. We will not allow it. Who can we use? Then they come and call some journalists. Come. They know he doesn't understand. They tell him, look, take this thing here. Go and do a documentary and then put it out and say that SML is bad, that they should cancel the contract. And then minority in parliament says that government should review the contract. That's what happens in Ghana. Please get me Colin Powell, Get me Colin Powell's quote. I'll come to it. That's what happens in Ghana these days. That's what happens. And then everything is obscured and everything media say they bulldoze their way around. And then only few people are able to see that they have not even done proper work. They have not done proper work. So this is it. So now this is the other letter that was signed by, this is Frank Ejechu. Let me get the other letter. I was going to it. Okay, this is that's the other letter. Okay, great, thank you. The other letter is signed by Ernest Akori. He's called Chef de Cabinet at the Ministry of Finance, and it's a letter entitled Expansion of the Scope of Work by Mrs. Strategic Mobilization Limited. Let me read it. The Honorable Minister has determined that there is a need to monitor the production and shipment of oil and gold out of Ghana. To this end, he would like to expand the scope of the revenue assurance work being performed by SML to include upstream oil drilling by the oil production companies and the gold mining companies. This number 2, please put a letter there. This number 2 is where the problem came. The minister says that to this end, he will appeal to expand the scope of the revenue assurance work being performed by SML to include upstream oil drilling by oil production companies and the gold mining companies as well. That's where the problem started. So Minister of Finance says, is that what is happening? So the 350 they were reporting all the time was wrong. They could have actually reported 450 plus 100 million, 350 million. They could have reported 450 million. That is the deficit of 100 million liters of petroleum products over which taxes were not paid because it was not declared. So if you are Minister of Finance, if I'm Minister of Finance, if any normal person is Minister of Finance, he will look at this company and say, can we give you some more work to do? The people who also produce our oil and sell it abroad, we don't even know. We don't know how they do it. We don't know how many times they do it. This is a letter signed by Ernest Akori, so it's signed to the Commissioner General. So that's the letter. Ministry of Finance says that they should give them upstream as well. So the upstream people start getting concerned that, hey, the thing they are doing at downstream, they're coming to do it here again, and then they turn it upside down. You see, that is Ghana. They turn it up, black is white, white is black, red is blue, blue is red, and then we are all rolling into it like that. Get me Colin Powell's code, please get us ready, I'll deal with it. Now, this upstream, now I'll come to that in a minute, hold it. This upstream situation is very complicated, this upstream situation. Because not too long ago, please put on the Reuters thing. Not too long ago, it was reported here in Ghana. Here it is. Ghana says defective meter, no risk to oil measures. Now, the story here is that a defective measuring instrument on Ghana's only offshore oil platform does not threaten the ability to track crude exports, the operator said, in a move to assuage fears that the country's oil revenue could be hit. An ultrasonic meter that monitors oil export flows has not worked since before the first oil in December last year. The failure has sparked concerns that Ghana could fail to capitalize fully on its crude production. This is from Reuters. Can you imagine that, viewers? Tullow Oil, they are something ultrasonic meter that monitors the oil. It stopped working. The ultrasonic meter that tells us, all of us, that this is how much oil Tullow has drilled, this is how much they've sold, this is how much taxes will be due to the government, because taxes are calculated on the gross of what you have sold. That instrument, it got faulty. And globally, people were suggesting that Ghana is going to be in trouble because you don't know how much oil. This is the kinds of situations we are coming from. And that is why the Minister of Finance will say that SML, go and monitor the oil as well. Go and monitor the upstream oil. Go and do it for us. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the issue. This is all what it's about. No more, no less. Because some people know that their pilfering and pillage is going to come to an end. Because righteousness is coming. Once righteousness is coming, the evil will run away because the light will shine and the darkness will go away. And they have seen what has happened at downstream. Now, Kenneth Ofriatta says, please, also go to upstream. And you haven't even heard the words, the one that we all complain about. Gold. The other day, they told us that the Chinese mined $5 billion worth of gold from here and promised that they'll give us $3 billion. They didn't even give it to us. They give us a $3 billion loan, a so-called CBD loan. It didn't come. But they took $5 billion worth of gold out of here in 5 years, illegally, informally, just like that. So Kenneth Ofriatta says, can you do this with gold as well? They say, oh, we can. So can you go and stand at Newmont and AGC and tell us actually how much? Oh, yes, we can. They said they can. That is what is bringing this documentary. Can you imagine how embarrassing it looks now? That journalists were called so that they will do something, a documentary, to cripple the states and benefit individuals. That's what they have done. To cripple the states and benefit individuals. And they will talk about corruption. They are anti-corrupt. Put their photograph there. Suleiman Brahma, Manasseh Azuri, Professor Kwame Kaikari. Put their photograph there. Them. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Them. Manasseh Azuri, Suleiman Brahma, Professor Kwame Kaikari. It is their work. They have been doing this. They did this thing. That they want to cripple the republic and benefit individuals. Didn't they see that since SML came in, revenue has shot up by a whole 100 million? Didn't they appreciate and understand? Didn't they look at the documents of the minister to see that the contract was 5 years? Manasseh said the contract was 10 years. A whole totally flawed assessment. So completely flawed. How does a journalist get that wrong? The thing is in the document. If you are looking for the contract, call for the contract. You people are the apostles of RTI. So use RTI to call for the contract. We didn't have any difficulty getting the contract because the people have nothing to hide. They said, here's the contract. It went from Ministry of Finance to GRA to procurement. So everybody has seen it. We don't have anything to hide. Here is it. Clearly in the contract, it's written down 5 years. Then in a documentary, Professor Kwame Kari supervised the documentary. In that documentary, Manasseh comes and says 10 years. And everybody saying, oh, but where did he get the 10 years from? Manufacturing details to protect private people who are not in the interest of who are not seeking the interest of the republic. Manufacturing details. Now they do the documentary and they manufacture and they say they are anti-corruption people. You see, that's how sometimes Ghana works. Black is white, white is black. Because they form a narrative and they propaganda it. So their work here is to ensure that SML's contract is cancelled because that's what they've been called to do. And they've been called to do that by evil men and women. That's what they've been called to do. And they don't even have the presence of mind, I should say, to look at the document and assess it for themselves and say that, where's the problem? Let's understand the problem. What is SML to do? Why we're not able to solve the problem? That's what they should be doing, which is very easy to do. It took us only 2-3 hours to finish this week. And I guess calling people, calling revenue authority and all of that. That's about it. Why do they do these things all the time? Why do they do that all the time? Don't they understand that the journalism is changing and people are looking for facts and quality, and people understand quality because they watch us. They watch CNN, they watch Sky News, they watch Fox News, and they are going to compare with the journalism they see there and the journalism we do here. These people, very sick. Professor Kwame Kari is so seasoned. Suleiman Brahma has spent a lot of his time on media training and media teaching and all of that. Manasseh has spent a lot of his time on investigative reporting. This is the kind of work they produce all the time. This is the work they produce. They produce work and it's factually erroneous. Everything is an error. That's the work they produce. But that's sad. Not about them. Nothing to do with them. But for us. Because then people look at journalists and forget about them. Journalists, they don't know anything. That is why when you're a journalist and you buy a car, they say, where did you get the money from? It's because of Manasseh's poor work. It's Manasseh's poor work. When a lawyer buys a car, they don't ask him where he got the money from. Because they remember Peter Ajete. They remember Nana Akufo-Addo. They remember J.O.T. Ajeman. They remember those people. They remember Philip Archer. And they see that lawyers have a great image. So if you're a lawyer and you have a car, it's okay. If you're a journalist, you have a car. Why did you get a car? Because of Manasseh's poor work. You wonder why a journalist got a car. When he bought a tie, journalist, where did you get sued from? Journalist. Common journalist. Common. When they say common, they don't mean common. They mean foolish boy. That's what they say. When they say common journalist, they don't mean common. They mean foolish boy. They just can't say the foolish boy because they have to be courteous. Because of this poor work. But if we put work there that is distinguished, we put a documentary that is to be applauded, people see a journalist, they will say yes. When they see Richard Quest, they say that's a journalist. When they see Larry King, they say that's a journalist. Manasseh Azuri, he will put some poor work, very, very poor work. You go and look at a document, you can't even interpret a simple document. And you go and write wrong things. That is 10 years when the document says it's 5 years. You have not even understood the problem that you are solving. They don't understand the problem. They've just been railroaded by somebody, giving some information, go and say it. Then they go and say it. Why are we doing this? The new generation of journalists must change that. Let's put up work that is sophisticated. Work that when people see, they'll clap. That's the kind of work we should be doing. But this kind of work they do, where is it from? You do work as soon as you finish GRA issue statement. How many times have we done a documentary here that you see that somebody has issued statement? How many times? How many times have we done people's tributes, Kojochi Carter's tributes, you put facts. That I see people issue statements. Hey, good evening, Ghana, you were wrong. No way, it will never happen because we till the ground. We burn the midnight oil to assess the work. Why? Because we have respect for our viewers. We don't want to put out something to our viewers that tomorrow morning they drive the car, they say, oh, the thing you were watching was wrong. They will stop watching, they will tune off. Why can't they have the same presence of mind, the same responsibility, the same altruistic attitude to be able to do the right thing? And almost always, they have a penchant for catching people, and so they just come up with just wrong things. Ghana Revenue Authority, thank you very much. Ghana Revenue Authority put up this statement in response to their failed attempt at putting SML out in that failed documentary. This is what they said, as follows. The attention of the board and management of the Ghana Revenue Authority has been drawn to a publication made by the Fourth Estate on its front page edition of the 18th December 2023. The publication alleges that the Minister of Finance has awarded a questionable contract to SML Ghana Limited to monitor upstream petroleum production and to audit the value chain of minerals and metal resources. Because do you see what I'm talking about? The documentary purpose is not about what SML is doing. No. They are worried about upstream. Then why has the minister awarded a questionable contract for them to do upstream? Because the upstream, some of them in the upstream don't want it done. And they get journalists who can support it because they know that those journalists don't understand. So they will use them. That's what has happened. So people are worried. If we want to assure revenue as a country, we want to assure revenue from upstream, why are you worried? You, the upstream man, why are you worried? We want to come and ask you that the oil that you say you exported, we are checking whether you exported, and you are worried. If you are worried, then we are suspicious about your commitments to the Republic. If you are worried about that, we are going to be very, very suspicious about your commitments to the Republic. And lucky you, you can get some journalists to use. Lucky you, man. Lucky you. You can get some journalists to use. If you're in Nigeria, you won't get any journalists to use because they will all read it. If you're in America, you won't get any because they will read it. But in Ghana, you can get some people because they won't read it. You give them a paper to go and say, they'll just go and say, they won't read it, they won't research, they don't understand anything. They just go and read it. And then they embarrass the media. So when you go and buy a pen, they say, come on, journalist, how do you get money to buy a pen? Come on, journalist. In America, in London, in Ghana, or in Nigeria, or in South Africa, come on, journalist. Because the things the Ghanaian journalists, some of them do, is very, very common. The attention, let's move on. The board and management affirms that it has signed a consolidated contract with SML to monitor and audit. Now, the GRA board is saying that yes, they have signed it. They are not denying it. They have signed the contract. It's as follows. A, downstream petroleum sector 2019. Upstream petroleum sector 2023. Minerals and metals resources value chain 2023. They have signed it. That's what they are telling you. That you common journalists, get out of our face. We have signed that contract. Come and understand why. It goes on. The new and consolidated contract, which is for a term of 5 years. 5, not 10. Manasseh Azuri, 5 and 10, they are different. There is 5 in between 5 and 10. Learn it. Abba. The new and consolidated contract, which is for a term of 5 years, was awarded based on the excellent and quantifiable performance of SML in monitoring the downstream petroleum sector and the provisions of instant reconciliation of real-time data in the sector. And this first paragraph is evidential. For anybody who wanted to do any work, this first paragraph of the GRA is evidential. It is evidential. It's there. So what was Manasseh doing? I mean, this is the same guy who went to do a documentary, said President has militia at whatever it's called, Castle. The thing went to National Media Commission, he lost. Then he was sacked by Joy FM. The Joy FM issued some statement that they said they resigned. He was sacked by Joy FM because of that documentary. Because he got factual inaccuracies very wrong, terribly wrong. And he's still doing it. He hasn't learnt his lesson one bit. He's still doing it. That's why the Fourth Estate hasn't got a story. Until they have gone to catch somebody, they don't have a story. Tomorrow, they don't have a story. The day after tomorrow, they don't have a story. Next week, they don't have a story. Next 2 weeks, they don't. Or as soon as somebody come and tell them, come and see this. The man has stolen money. Go and say it. Then they have a story. They can't create any story. They can't generate any story, except that way somebody has given to them and they don't assess as well. So they get into this kind of embarrassing situations where the GRA is issuing a statement to embarrass them. If I had a media house, if you do a reporter, if you do a work and the people write and come and embarrass you, I'll deduct from your pay. How can you, a journalist of seasoned, Manasseh has been there for 100 years, you do work, Professor Kwame Karika has been there for 2,000 years, Suleiman Brahma another 300 years, between them 2,400 years of journalism. Look at what they are doing. The work of SML over the period has led to a dramatic jump in the figures reported in the downstream petroleum sector. Over 33% increase in volume reporting. This is the GRA board writing. The consolidated contract seeks to leverage the experience, technology, and know-how of SML Ghana Limited in the upstream petroleum sector and the minerals and metal sector to minimize revenue losses and to provide revenue assurance. Responses to allegations by Fourth Estate. 1. The board and management of GRA restates that the consolidated contract, which is a risk-reward contract, seeks to bring efficiency in revenue assurance services provided to GRA. Number 2, the contract is for 5 years and is performance-based and approved under Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act, Act 633, 2003. Board and management affirms that all legal and proper processes were followed in procuring the services of SML. 3. SML solely financed the very substantial capital expenditures and cutting-edge technology that is employed in the monitoring and auditing services provided to GRA in the downstream petroleum sector. 31% of SML's earnings are paid as tax to GRA. The agreed risk-reward compensation in the contract is standard in the industry and takes the investment made by SML into consideration. The board and management was mindful of the enormous cost in procuring fresh services to monitor the upstream petroleum sector and the minerals and metal sector respectively, and therefore it found it strategic to consolidate the services into one contract. The risk-reward contract was awarded to SML because of its proven record for effectively monitoring the downstream petroleum sector in real time and providing instant reconciliation of all the transactions. The contract has checks and balances to ensure that the public purse is protected, and included in the contract provision is a value for money audit which will be made known to the public. The upstream petroleum and minerals and metals resources revenue assurance has not commenced. It will be difficult at this time to say how much compensation will be given to SML. We find the statement from the Fourth Estate that SML will be compensated under $100 million annually as having no basis. You are a journalist, do a documentary. You say that people will be paid $100 million. A GRA who is going to pay the money says that there's no basis to say that, because they have to start for us to see how much they'll be paid. I mean, what can I say about that? I mean, I'm worried because if I wasn't a journalist, I would be sitting there and sleeping. But you see, these are the things they do. When you go anywhere, they look at you with one eye closed, one eye open, and they are wondering whatever, You go to a public function, you're talking to somebody, then he's asking you, are you recording him? All these things they do. All these kinds of things they should stop that. They should stop. So this is the story, viewers. This is a story. I like to hear the text messages on what people think about this, but this is a story. This is the conclusion of the story. Have I done justice to everything? Do I have everything sorted? Yes, I think I have everything sorted. So this is the story. This is all what it's about. SML is doing their work. They are doing value for money assurance. They are increasing the taxes that goes to GRA for the purpose of building school, free SHS, building dining halls for day students, building the roads in Teshi for me, building the roads in Labadi for you, building the roads in Swami for you, building the roads in Tamale for you. This is what they are doing. Revenue is going up. Manasseh Azuri and his cohorts say that no, sack SML because the work that MPA is doing, the work that SML is doing, MPA was doing it. A very porous understanding, a paucity of appreciation, cerebral weaknesses. I always say, cerebral weaknesses. That is their forte. That's why they disgrace the journalism. That is why they are the people they call journalists. They disgrace the profession with cerebral weaknesses, obvious cerebral weaknesses. How can't you understand this? How can't you read a contract to know it's 5 years? How can you say that somebody is going to earn 100 million by just boil your trim and say it? As they say in Chi, waboni team and wakambibi. You can do that at the drinking bar. We all do that at a drinking bar. When I go to a drinking bar, I just talk anyhow. I say Manchester United can score everybody. That's just drinking bar talk. But when we are doing your work as a journalist, you don't come and quote a figure, 100 million, without any basis, so that GRA will tell you that what you've done is without basis. But why? Why? Why do they do that? Why do they do these things? Anyway, you're getting messages, aren't you? Please give me the Osu thing one more, then by the time we come back, I'm sitting down. The Osu thing, machine. Give me that one. Back on, sorry. I just saw a text that was exciting to read, so I was focusing on it. Okay, let's get the text messages now. Now, please ask Fourth Estate. Ask them. This is a very important question. The other day, when we were all worried about what happened in Volta region, they said Volta River Authority had given Zoomlion a contract. Volta River Authority came out and said they have not given Zoomlion a contract. Zoomlion came out and said we have not received a contract from VRA. Fourth Estate is quiet. That's dereliction of duty and total disrespect to Ghanaians. They are being irresponsible. Come out and tell us. Do you know that they have a contract? Do you insist on the story, or do you withdraw the story? They are waiting for somebody to go and sue them. Nobody will sue them. Nobody has time for them. We don't care. They have a responsibility to come back to the Ghanaian public and tell them that we were wrong on this one. We were right on it. We insist on it. They've gone quiet. That's what they do. They go and hide. They think they can take Ghanaian people for a joke. You publish something, the people come and respond. This one, they shouldn't run away and go and hide, though. They've done a whole documentary with people talking and everything. GRA has issued a statement. They shouldn't go and hide. They should come and talk. Nobody has time to sue them. They don't matter. We are suing them for it. Nobody has time to sue them. They should come and apologize or come and insist that their point was right, because maybe they are right. Let them come and let's see. Maybe they are right. From what we know, they are very wrong. But let them come and talk. They shouldn't go and hide. And those of you who are their friends, tell them that we are calling them, we are texting them, we are WhatsApping them. They should come and respond. Professor Kwame Kaikai, Suleiman Brahma, Manasseh Azuri, they should come and respond. First to the VRA, Volta River Authority story, and now to the Ghana Revenue Authority story. They should come and say what they have to say. Because VRA said that they have not given any contract. What is the meaning of this? You think you can just take anybody's name and just destroy it? If you're in England, like you see how the libel courts will deal with you. Here in Ghana, you go to court, it takes a long time. We are still developing it. We'll get there. Chief Justice Tokonu is doing an excellent job. I'm sure we'll get there very soon, where we can deal with matters very quickly, so that some of these people will be dealt with very, very, very quickly. You think you can every day come and say anything at all and get away with it? Just go away. People come and respond and just keep quiet. Then you bring another one. Are we the people supposed to feed you? Please, stop that. Yes, Antoinette. Or is this Fatty first? Fatty.
All right. So, thank you, Paul. This is coming from Nixon Ashon, and he says, when I watched the supposed scandal documentary, all I said was, what a shallow investigation. The investigator couldn't prove that SML doesn't do anything at all from point A to point Z, but rather engaged in semantics rhetorics to accuse them of corruption. Highly disappointed, but that's the current situation of the Fourth Estate newspaper. They have lacked the capacity to research to get the best out of each story, from their very first story to this myopic expose. Coming from George Boameng says, Manasseh Azuri has no credibility. They all work for their own parochial interest, and it's sad how they are leading this country. Good evening, Paul and your disciples. Coming from Dream Kim.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back to the screen. Please put Colin Powell. Let me do it. I have to do this. Put Colin Powell. Let me run and go and do that and come. Wait. Let me do that quickly. Colin Powell. Aha. Dankeschön. Oui. Merci beaucoup. D'accord. Aha. Small French is finished. Okay. We have come to live in a society based on insults, on lies, and on things that just aren't true. It creates an environment where deranged people feel empowered. Love Colin Powell, man. Salute you, General. 4-star General, yeah. American Secretary of State. This is Manasseh they are talking about, to Suleiman Brahma, this is them. We have come to live in a society based on insults, on lies, and on things that just aren't true. It creates an environment where deranged people feel empowered. Deranged, totally deranged people, they feel empowered. Colin Powell, thank you very much. This is the DP of my guest, Dr. Domfrey, who is coming. He's coming to settle some matters. We will speak true so that those who are relying on lies, we will expose them. That's our work. We'll continue to expose them every day. We'll expose them until they do their work well. We are neither for this nor for that, but we want the truth. Yes, I'm a right-wing reporter, no doubt about that. But if there's something wrong, we will deal with it. But if you report something wrong, we'll applaud you for it. But if you report something that is like this, we will deal with it. Please go on with the messages.
All right. So back to George Boabeng, and he says Manasseh Azuri has no credibility. They all work for their own parochial interest, and it's sad how they are leading the country. Good evening, Paul and your disciples. Jerry came here says when agents of the Fourth Estate become cohorts of government's propaganda machinery, all hope is lost for the country. And lastly, coming from Baba Chairman from Tamale, says Manasseh is an apology of contemporary journalism, always getting it wrong all the time. Antoinette, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Fatih. Kwabena Daintu says it's a deliberate effort, I think, from the Ghanaian media and Ghanaians to make Akufo-Addo and the finance minister unpopular. Tayari Clement says GRA's response to doesn't hold water. How can you enter into contract with SML for revenue assurance at the upstream and mineral sectors without considering any remuneration to be paid? Derek Nana Kwame Edu, the question is why is GRA outsourcing this to SML, something that could be done by the GRA themselves? Paul, who are these private people? In any case, what is the status of SML? Is it a private or a public company? Kofi Body says, good evening, Ghana. Paul, it would be helpful if you could run side by side what the documentary said against your research findings. This will help your viewers who haven't seen the documentary and not consume only your editorial, just my 2 cents. Now, Caesar says you need GRA officials stationed on site to reconcile the volume of fuel dispersed each time from the fuel farms to tanks each time as well. Just like we have custom officers stationed at our port to check the import and export of goods. Why award a contract to a third party? And lastly, Samuel Ofosuba says, human beings are potentially corrupt. That is why, in the wisdom of God, he created law and order to regulate and check the idiosyncrasies of man. A community that's without law and order creates anarchy and vandalism. Angelo.
Vic from Kitikrachi says, good evening to you all. Paul, what's the issue with Manasseh? Does he have a problem with the current government? He's from Kitikrachi, my hometown. He's one of the few journalists we have around, and I love him. But he's letting us down. This is unfortunate. This from Taufik. Roberto from Takrady says, these journalists are intelligent and well situated, as you can see, but they have bad consciences and their works are unproductive. Paul, pour out your sort of intellectual analysis so they will be healed of their evil ways. Adam Kojo says, hello, Paul, it's good to hear your side of the story, but please, who structured the service fees of $0.75 per barrel and 0.75% of gold? Right.
Why didn't GRA do it themselves? A lot of investment needs to be done to do that. So in NCA, they started with the private sector. Eventually, NCA got money to do it themselves. So please go on.
Right. He says, what GRA has an audit team, so what are they doing? It is their legal mandate to monitor and collect revenue. We're in this country when GRA won a court case against MTN in respect of a tax audit conducted. We have the institutions and the men, allow them to perform their roles and stop giving out funny contracts on people. Obo from Tamale says, good evening, Paul. This message is in Akan. I'll do my best to read it. It says, Semanase Semba Eya Nyabutre. Our friend Prince Banser from the University of Lincoln says, thanks, Paul, for that illuminating insights into this SML contract issue. As a matter of fact, I have seen snippets of social media posts talking about this SML thing, but I must admit, I did not pay much attention to it. As someone who has worked at the downstream oil production, I was wondering how tax declarations could be problematic in the depots, when in actual fact, the downstream production have institutions such as the customs unit of GRA and national security at the depots who actually certify every tank that is loaded out of the gantry before they exit the tank farm. Now that I am made aware that this contract has to do with monitoring of upstream oil production, I can say in all praises that the contract should even be for 20 years with the potential for extension. This is because, oh my, we have no idea the things that go on in that upstream production. Our country is being shortchanged big time with under-declaring of daily barrels of oil produced in Ghana. Our local people stationed at the upstream drilling sites either have limited knowledge of the formula and the technology that the foreign drillers use to declare the barrels of oil production daily, or they help compromise the data themselves. It is therefore reasonable and imperative that any effort to checkmate the anomaly and erase the pilfering and thievery in oil exploration is commendable. It is not a mere perception that while we struggle to navigate the economic challenges as a country, our country is being shortchanged by private interest. This is no perception at all. It is something that I have always talked about. I am happy we now have a way to monitor the exploitation of our resources to benefit the country. This is from Prince Bansa, University of Lincoln, England. Back to you, Paul.
So many text messages coming in. Some people say we should have put the documentary side by side. We do not think that we can show portions of that documentary. We don't want to be sued with anyone, so we leave it like that. All right, but the point that we're making about the documentary, the SML's work is not important, and their concern is about the upstream. Upstream people are beginning to feel the heat. Maybe if downstream is cheating us 100 million or purportedly, allegedly cheating us 100 million barrels of oil, maybe upstream may be purportedly, allegedly cheating us 700 million. We will find out because righteousness is coming. Righteousness is coming to our shore. So we will find out. Hallelujah be to the resurrected Lord. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be back on the touch screen with my theory on district assembly elections. So I'll tell you what's happening between my producer and I. We are fighting right now on the phone. So I sent him the document. MPP says, these are the electoral areas they want you who. This there is on the platform. Then he writes back to me and says, boss, we can't use this. I said, why? He says, because the district assembly elections are expected to be non-partisan. Why are we going to put out something MPP says? So when we take the break, I'll call him here or I'll go to his place at the back in the MCR and we're going to fight. Whoever wins the fight, you will see it when we start. If we come back and I put it up, it means I won. If he's able to convince me that we shouldn't put it up, it means that he won. So stay tuned. Whichever way, I'll still say I'll still have my say on the district assembly elections that occurred today. I hope the guy in my area won, Charlie, Paula Japan. I love him, man. I really hope that Paula Japan won. Did Paula Japan win? Anybody who knows whether Paula Japan won in Teshi Vodafone electoral area? There. If Paula Japan won, please let me know. He has to win. He really has to win. Call me, let me know that he won and we celebrate it. Okay. Paula Japan is a party guy. I won't tell you which party. He's a party guy. All of these people are party people. We know them. NDC is talking about how NDC right now in their strong room are receiving results across the country, checking how many electoral areas they won. MPP too are receiving results, checking how many electoral areas they won. What is this non-partisan thing that we are hailing? It is hypocrisy. We are all becoming wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, don't be ostriches. Deal with the facts. Bail the cat. We are partisan at the assembly level. Get on with it. After the break, Good Evening Ghana continues.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
The Pacho Bantama.
Machasi.
It's
the smile, the fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasan. Kile hosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
We are back bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bet. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the partial daily jackpot.
You always get way more with Betway.
And you might see.
This advert has been vetted and approved by.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance, and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ikropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ikropong right after the Latte Junction, or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
The biggest car center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadam Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho, directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motofix, Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation, to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people. She ready throw. Eteye simani sui. Doctor semen koye operation. Cataract surgery. Ni throw.
Minia. Usto sesen. Sisi Dr. Agawa ama operation ya yes simple ukrum ha. One say. Sisi there no ABS.
ABS. And also ne
ABS na chese. No anesthesia. No bleeding. No suture. Unks na hospital hokra anche. Obeji di senra. Mekoye surgery.
Sa.
Ani o. Enese medi ye mejume ne you. Chese me need a clear.
Wow. Ne simple sa. O se hospital ba no.
Dr. Agawa's Eye Hospital. Ebentesano Police Station. Wow. Frewen ne ya. It was 0501 534 498 and 0553 019 311.
Dr. Agawa's Eye Hospital. For eyes like new.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the healer.
Customer.
Nadabena minka, me papa. Me try 10 Ghana.
10 Ghana.
10 Ghana cedis.
Nanu no dia, send now benya.
10 Ghana cedis no. Me dia. 54,000 Ghana cedis.
54,000.
540 million.
Yeah, the one na me ka me di ehun skase.
Yeah. Ene na giga keka, ade tena we. Tena wa boki. Ah, draw no na asase no we. Mami mi volume no.
Customer. What one of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
She ready throw. Eteye simani sui. Doctor semen koye operation. Cataract surgery. Ni throw.
Minia. Usto sesen. Sisi Dr. Agawa ama operation ya yes simple ukrum ha. One say. Sisi there no ABS.
ABS. And also ne
ABS na chese. No anesthesia. No bleeding. No suture. Unks na hospital hokra anche. Obeji di senra. Mekoye surgery.
Sa.
Ani o. Enese medi ye mejume ne you. Chese me need a clear.
Wow. Ne simple sa. O se hospital ba no.
Dr. Agawa's Eye Hospital. Ebentesano Police Station. Wow. Frewen ne ya. It was 0501 534 498 and 0553 019 311.
Dr. Agawa's Eye Hospital. For eyes like new.
Have you been to Aqua Safari lately? Let me share my experience with you at the new Aqua Safari Resorts. When you arrive, you're greeted by warm smiles and introduced to your 24-hour butler who already has your itinerary sorted. Enjoy water sports activities like jet ski rides, kayaking, water sliding, flyboarding, and castnet fishing. You can even have your lunch here on the boat cruise. Experience horseback riding, tennis, and some golfing amongst a host of other activities. Let the tour guides take you through the sceneries of the Volta River, the mangrove forest, the friendliness of the animals, local and exotic birds, while you pet and feed them. You can have this large space for your conferences, corporate retreats, and so many activities as part of the package. We chose to have our breakfast with a beautiful sunrise right in front of our cabin. We had an amazing experience and I can't wait to return for more.
Visit Aqua Safari Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
All right, so you're not going to see the document because I was prevailed upon by my producer, who is a good lawyer, who told me that, yes, it is MPP is a corporate body. So when you talk about MPP or NDC and say that they have done something, you must have a basis to say that. And this is just a paper. And they will tell you that they didn't say that they didn't do partisan with the elections and they can bring legal action against us. I take that advice. So you won't see it. But I can still talk about it. No, good night to them. I'm done. Good night. But the district assembly elections. Oh, please, can you take them off? Because sometimes it disturbs. Yeah, it's better. This is better. The district assembly elections is being run as partisan. Let us get serious with it. That's all I'll say. In next year, I'll come with a proper analysis on it because we have to take a decision as a country and go back to Parliament with that Akufo-Addo amendment and see what we can do about it. Now, good evening. This is President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. This is Speaker Bagbin, and I'm just excited about what is happening in Ghanaian democracy. It looks like American democracy, so sophisticated, so intellectual, and it's just beautiful, isn't it? So Parliament has passed, I believe, 3 bills or 2 bills, and is awaiting the president's assent. So the president must assent to the bill, and then it becomes law, as we were told. Now, President Akufo-Addo is the first president in Ghana's Fourth Republic history, I believe in Ghana's entire history, who has taken a bill from Parliament and says, Chief, I will not assent. I won't do it. He's the first president to have done that. This happens in America. It doesn't happen in Ghana. This happens in beautiful advanced democracies. We are getting it now. Is it not exciting? So Parliament passes, Speaker writes a letter. That's how it goes. Speaker writes a letter with the compliments of Parliament. His Excellency the President, it pleases me to inform you that the 8th Parliament of the Fourth Republic has duly passed the following bills as attached. Your Excellency, pursuant to Article so-and-so of the 1992 Constitution, it is now time for you to assent to these bills so that it may become law. Please be assured of the best wishes of Parliament. Then he signs, Speaker, Right Honorable Alman Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin. That's how they do it. So he will write a letter, and the letter will be taken to the president. So the president has read the letter. He says, look, Mr. Bagbin, I will not assent. Take your bill away. Now, he's not just saying that, he's not just saying it into the air like Fourth Estate people just say anything at all into the air. They don't have any basis. He's not saying that. He's saying to Speaker Bagbin that, Mr. Speaker, the bills that you have sent to me, they are out of law because they violate certain fundamental principles of the 1992 Constitution. To that end, I shall not sign it. Speaker Bagbin received the president's letter. He informs Parliament that His Excellency the President has declined to sign the bill. We know what the Constitution says they should do when the President declines. We'll get there. But then he says to Parliament that I also have a view on this matter. And in the coming days, I'm going to write a full statement in response to the President, and I shall submit it to members of Parliament for your comments. So what is our duty tonight on the touch screen? In the next 5 minutes, we're just going to show you what are the 2 lawyers and the 2 politicians arguing about. But I have to say, this is beautiful. Who do I applaud the most? I applaud President Akufo-Addo the most for being the president with that kind of akukudro to say that this bill, I won't sign it. Let's debate it. That's democracy. I love that, isn't it? Okay, so let's get to the details. So the bill was proposed by our friend Javier Sosu. Criminal Offences Amendment Bill. Javier Sosu wants the death penalty to be removed. A few people agree with him. He thinks that, so the death penalty is when the armed robber is tried in court and is found guilty of armed robbery. They take him to the stakes, they put some things on his hand and they shoot him. Many people don't worry about the armed robbery one because they said that he also wanted to kill people. He wanted to kill people or he killed people, so they should shoot him. But anyway, Sosu says that the death penalty is wrong. So we should take the death penalty out so that anybody who would hitherto have been charged with a death penalty, that person will now be charged with a life sentence. They will spend the rest of their lives in prison. They'll be in prison until they die. That's what Sosu wants. A life sentence is also another regime of sentencing, but it's lower than a death penalty. So Sosu convinced Parliament that instead of death penalty, let's convert it to a life sentence. Okay. The Criminal Offences Act Amendment Bill 2023, Witchcraft Bill. Sosu also proposed the Witchcraft Bill as a private member's bill. Now, mind you, these bills are what we call a private member's bill. Maybe I can take 1 minute to explain that a little bit. in Parliament, when they are discussing the laws, they call it bill. And the bill goes through first reading, second reading, and third reading. These days, they've amended it and call it consideration stage, which is the second reading. And the third reading is the final stage. And the first reading is the introductory stage. So the first reading introduces a bill standing in the name of Paul Advertisements, Minister for XYZ. That, Mr. Speaker, that Parliament shall so and so and so, I beg to move. That's first reading. Then it goes to the committee. The committee will discuss it. Then it comes back for the second reading, which is what they call the consideration stage. So second reading, the bill so and so proposed by Minister for so and so, Paul Advertisements, the other day went to the committee stage. Mr. Speaker, the committee's report is now available for the House to consider. Then they say, what's the committee report? So, Speaker, the committee rejects the bill in toto, except save section 1 of something. Then the Speaker will ask members. Then somebody will stand up. Yes, have you so? Mr. Speaker, I don't agree with the committee's recommendations. I was on the committee and I told them that. Okay. So they form all of that. Then the bill comes back for the third reading. All the changes have been made, if any, blah, 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 blah. So they bring it. Mr. Speaker, the final stage of the bill so and so reads as follows. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. Speaker says, as many as are in favor of the bill say aye. Say aye. As many as are against say no. Speaker says the ayes have it. Then somebody says no, the ayes don't have it. Then they go and take the speaker's chair. Then they throw it away. Then the speaker says, okay, let's go and vote. So they vote and the bill passes. Then it comes to the speaker and the letter that I told you about. Your Excellency the President, please have the assurances of our best regard from Parliament, etc. It goes to the President. The President signs and it's law. So what has happened in this case is so what I was describing is government bill, if you like. When they say standing in the name of a minister, so and so, it's a government bill. And the government bills are introduced by the government ministers. And the government ministers introduce the bill on behalf of the President. So that the budget is a bill. It becomes the Appropriation Act. Every budget is a bill. And the budget stands in the name of His Excellency the President. It's just read by the Finance Minister. The President can decide to go and read the budget himself. Kwame Nkrumah used to read his own budget. The 1963 or 64 budget was read by Osajifo the President. So President Akufo-Addo could have decided to be reading his own budget, because the budget as is presented to Parliament stands in the name of His Excellency the President. So the budget is a bill. It's moved by the Minister of Finance on behalf of the President. The bills that the Attorney General moves, this is the punishment regime that Attorney General Dame went to Parliament to amend, so that we can now have people who are sweeping the streets instead of going the custodial sentence regime. That bill was in the name of Attorney General Godfrey Dame, but it is moved on behalf of the President. You get this when I get to the Constitution. Why? What it means to say a bill is moved on behalf of the President. When a bill is moved on behalf of the President, that bill can charge on the consolidated fund. That bill can create a debt for government. That bill can create more money for government. If we want to pass free SHS as a law, for instance, as Raymond Atuguba so advised, the Minister for Education, Dr. Saya Oduchum, will go to Parliament with pass a bill, the free SHS law, or he may be amending some law, education something law, to be amended to include free SHS. That bill that he passes stands in the name of Osaya Oduchum, Minister for Education, Member of Parliament for Bosomchi, but it is being passed on behalf of the President. Now, that's how most bills are. Then in America and other developed democracies like Ghana, they have the private members bill, where I don't have to be a minister of government. I can be the opposition leader, or I can be any member of Parliament, either from the government side or anywhere, but I'm moving a bill in my own name. It is not a bill that I'm passing on behalf of the President. That was not allowed before under our Constitution, but now it's allowed. So there's private members bill. So 10 of us can come together from PRESEC and go and get one PRESECan in Parliament, and move private members bill that PRESEC be declared the best school in Ghana. We can move it. We will lose the vote at the end. It's not your matter. You too, you can move your school's bill, isn't it? You can also come and move a Disadel or something. We will go and say, Ablakwa, move that PRESEC. So he will take the bill to Parliament and say, Mr. Speaker, the bill that the President Boys Secondary School be considered as the best school in Ghana to be enacted in law in Ghana under section so and so and so. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. Everybody will laugh, but it will go to the consideration stage. It may come back and say, Mr. Speaker, the consideration stage have declined it, whatever, something like that. So that's private members bill. So that's what Javier Sosu has done. He has applied the private members bill situation to seek Parliament to change the death penalty, to seek Parliament, seeking that Parliament will amend the witchcraft something, And then the Armed Forces Bill is also about the death penalty. In the witchcraft thing, he says that when they find witches in parts of northern Ghana and eastern region, they beat them and kill them. So when they find people who are witches, government should find a place that they can be kept. And that's in the Witchcraft Amendment Bill. Okay, so now let's understand the problem. So he wanted the death penalty abolished in respect of offenses, and the abolishment and practice of calling people witches and the culture of witch camps. Okay, so he said that those witch camps, when they are created, government should take over and house the people somewhere else. Okay, let's move on now. This is the Constitution. 108, Settlement of Financial Matters. Parliament shall not, unless the bill is introduced or the motion is introduced by or on behalf of the President. Viewers, you see what I'm talking about? This is 108, Article 108 of the Constitution. It's entitled Settlement of Financial Matters. It says, Parliament shall not, unless the bill is introduced or the motion is introduced by or on behalf of the President. That is to say, introduced by the President himself or on behalf of the President, Parliament shall not do this following. A, proceed upon a bill including an amendment to a bill that in the opinion of the person presiding makes provision for any of the following. In the opinion of the Speaker, Parliament cannot proceed on a bill that is not by the President or by the President ministers to make the following, to make provision for any of the following. The bill that is coming must not say the following. 1, the imposition of taxation or the alteration of taxation otherwise than by reduction. So a bill that is not coming from the President cannot add taxes. It can only reduce it. Let's move on. The imposition of a charge on the consolidated fund or other public funds of Ghana, or the alteration of any such charge otherwise than by a reduction. So you cannot bring a bill as a private member of Parliament when the bill is going to impose a charge on the consolidated fund. So what it just means is that the bill is not going to ask government to pay more money. So that when you are a private member's bill, whatever bill you bring, it shouldn't ask government to pay more money. You can ask government to reduce paying money. You can reduce the burden on the taxpayer, but it shouldn't bring a bill that is saying that we are adding a burden to the taxpayer. That's what it's saying. Now, and then the payment issue or withdrawal from consolidated fund, etc., etc. The composition of remission of any debt due to government, blah, blah, blah. And then, all right, so the most important thing we want here is that you cannot bring a bill. If you are not the President or the President's minister, you're not bringing on behalf of the President, you cannot bring a bill that imposes a charge on the consolidated fund. Okay, so what's Nana Akufo-Addo saying, the President? So he's arguing that the said amendment impacts the consolidated fund and therefore cannot be introduced as a private member's bill. The President argues further that the passage violates Section 100 of the Public Financial Management Act. He also argues that it violates Section 100 of the Public Management Financial Act 2016, the said provision which is any legislation to be laid before Parliament or to be submitted for the approval of Parliament shall be accompanied by a fiscal impact analysis stating the estimated effect on revenue and expenditure during the financial year in which the legislation or proposal is expected to come. So this is like a buttress to the point that private members' bill cannot impose a tax on the individual or on the consolidated funds. This one seems to be adding to it that there should be no legislation submitted to Parliament without an analysis of how much it's going to cost to be able to prosecute that bill. That's what the President. So the President is saying that these bills that you have brought to me, death penalty, we have the death penalty. When somebody is an armed robber and we catch him, we kill him. You say that we shouldn't kill him anymore. Parliament has agreed. That means we have to keep him in the prison. So you are adding. So if next year we're going to find 11 people guilty of the death penalty, we're going to execute 11 people. You also are saying that those 11 people should now be kept in our prison. We haven't budgeted for them. We wouldn't have budgeted for them. You are adding, because you are changing the situation where somebody would have been taken away from there to the person being kept there, fed there, giving medical advice. So that's a charge on the consolidated fund. That's what the classic constitutional lawyer, Adodanko Akufo-Addo, is telling the Speaker. Beautiful argument. Where will it end? I cannot wait. That's what the President is saying. I fantastically agree with him. But that's what he's saying. That how can you bring me a bill that says that death penalty should be stopped? Okay, what should we do with it? We should keep them? No, you can't do that. That's a charge on the consolidated fund. Then the President proceeds to say, you say witchcraft bill. Okay, we should, when the witches are found, or as they are, we should take them and government should look after them. You are adding, you are bringing a charge on the consolidated fund. That's what His Excellency is saying. Speaker Bagme says he has a response, so we are waiting for that response. But for me, this is really, really, really beautiful. Beautiful Ghanaian democracy. Do you have text messages on this? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Fatih's brother has just finished Opoku and has done very well in the Wasi. She was just telling me this evening. Okay, Fatih, so read the first text message.
All right, so Olawale from Nigeria says he loves our program and loves your presentation. Nana Owusu Tufo says Nana Addo is building human resources for the betterment of our country's future since he assumed the presidential seats from January 2017. And lastly, Buachi Ajaman says, I love this program. And then I'll take my last message from Alhaji Bob Sidis. Assalamu alaikum, Paul. May the Almighty Allah continue to bless you. Our Tuesdays and Thursdays can never be complete without Good Evening Ghana. We love what you do. Continue what you're doing. Antoinette.
So here is a long read from Togwe on the GRA story. He says, I see a lot of people ask why GRA people are not rather stationed at the upstream oil drilling site. Folks, we have GRA stationed there, but they have limited knowledge and skills to determine the formula foreigners use to declare the quantity of oil produced. In some instances, our people also connive with foreigners to compromise the data on barrels of oil produced in Ghana. The best way to fight corruption in upstream oil production is to outsource the monitoring to experts. As a matter of fact, I care less about who owns the SML, provided they will help monitor and report accurately how much of oil is being produced daily. I am cool with it. Please, let's take time to ask questions. If they tell you that 200 barrels of oil is produced daily in Ghana, know that it is actually 400. This is why America will have more oil than countries that actually produce the oil on a daily basis. Let us wise up. Now, David Natekpe says, in fact, Paul, you're right. I am an EC official today in the just ended district assembly election, and when you listen to them keenly, you can therefore conclude that it is indeed a political election. Kofi Jesus Kwejo Agri says, this is why I will support digital economy. The use of AI will stop all these corrupt officials. Kofi Jesus Takwa, cheap politics by the minority in parliament committees shall be stopped. Osman Ahmed Kansuri has a message for Paul. He says, good evening, Mr. Paul. Do you know that the free SHS results are out and it appears to be the best ever in history? And then lastly, Naro says, Mr. Paul, but what makes you actually think that SML cannot be corrupt either, since they are the middlemen guys as well? Angelo.
Right. Joe Wilson says, the earlier this Speaker of Parliament gets it straight and knows that he is no more the minority leader, the better it will be for him. Now, Charles Frimpong responds to this, stating the President should also know that he was elected democratically and should act as such. Abdul Zati from Bolgatanga says, some reasonable controversies here. Dr. Miles says, responding to our break video, says, Dr. Miles says, stop building structures, but rather build people. While President Obama says, stop building people, but rather build systems or structures. However, all have merit and realistic evidence to support their views. I really like that interview. Thank you. From Tamale, Ili Wallace says, some of us can't stop thanking you for turning a TV program into an electoral hall for us. I'm a student of politics who doesn't miss your program. Thank you. So, Paul, I'd like to know if we can take a word from our sponsors or...
All right. I'm just reading online. Metro TV Ghana Online says, district level elections underway. That was a beautiful photograph from Metro TV Online earlier today. District Assembly elections. We'll talk about that later. Prof, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. So many people liked the interview you gave us. We were so happy that people were calling us. You know, we closed late and they said, hey, you have to bring Prof again. You have to bring... Are you that popular with your students as well?
Yes, I should say so.
The people told me, why doesn't he want to do politics? You go to Parliament. Where do you come from, Prof?
So many places. My mother's hometown is very close to Kumasi. I grew up in Kumasi. But from there, man.
There, man?
There, man. That's my mother's father's hometown.
Which constituency is that?
Tano South.
Do you want it?
Not at all.
Tano South is where Frida Prempe is?
No, that's Tano North.
Oh, that's
so
Tano North.
Bechim.
Bechim?
Yeah.
So you are Bono. But you say your mother's father?
I have four.
Oh, it's
Ashantis, yeah.
Oh, yes. So, President Mahama says that, Madam Thelma, please take it from here. President Mahama says that Ghanaians have now been saddled with extra debt because at the time he was leaving office, each Ghanaian would have owed for the national debt 4,000 cedis, I believe a 30 million population. He's saying that right now, each Ghanaian owes 20,000 cedis.
Yeah, okay, about that. Yeah.
Yes, and therefore he's suggesting to his audience that his government was a better government, and that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? A government that has created less debt should be thought of as better than a government that has created more debt.
More debt, yeah.
Shouldn't that be, or how do we understand it?
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thanks so much for this program, because last week when I came, I think I also had some positive feedbacks, I should say. Many called me as well, and at a point I heard I was also on TikTok with the program, and so yeah, very nice. Yes, unfortunately, some were also not happy with some of the things that I said.
Let me take a short break now for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll come back. Hold on, Prof is still here. He's gathering his thoughts. My commercial people are giving me a lot of pressure. 5 minutes break. Let's take it now.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance, and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ikropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ikropong right after the Latte Junction, or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two, with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bet. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot. You always get way more with Betway. As you can see.
Advertisements have been vetted and approved by
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, Sankofa,
Yenchi, Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
My son, there's more blessing in giving than receiving. When you fear for you and cover the makers in
The pneumatological aberration of the Lord revealed unto me this night, that me and my household should go out into the world and bless the world.
Makers Electronics Company Limited. I'm up to 67% discount. Our selected appliances.
This is what I call quintessential immaculatability.
The Makers Electronics Company Limited. Ewo Taifa Burkina Highway. Amasa Zongo Junction. Medicare Pharmacy Dining. Oyer Fateman Boga Junction. Ashaman Valco Flat. Kumasi. Ahinema Kokobeng. Asafu Buachi Hospital Junction. Takradi. Kuma. Number 9 Market.
Tell mom and dad about the Makers Blessing Attack program.
From 0552 222 253 and 0552 222 254. Terms and conditions apply.
The biggest car center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadam Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho, directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motofix. Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Welcome back to the show, and thank you very much. We have discharged our obligations commercially. Doc, sorry that we had to interrupt you, but we'll set it out again. And now we have the video also to share with our viewers. President Mahama says that when he was leaving office, according to the debt profile of our country, there was each Ghanaian would have paid 4,000 cedis to satisfy the debt that we owed. Now, if we want each Ghanaian to pay, each Ghanaian is going to pay 19,000 cedis to satisfy the debt that we owe. President Mahama is touting this to say that his government was a better manager of the economy than the government of President Akufo-Addo. I would like you to tell us the details about that, how you see that as an expert analyst. But before then, viewers, here's the video of what President Mahama said.
The economy is plagued by high public debt levels, which hinder investments in social and economic development projects. And I give you, for example, in 2016, if you shared the public debt of 120 billion among 30 million Ghanaians, each Ghanaian owed 4,000 Ghana cedis. Today, if you divide the debt of 577 billion by 30 million Ghanaians, all of us sitting here owe 19,000 cedis.
Sorry. Okay, thank you very much. So, yes, this is what President Mahama said. What do you have to say about this?
Let me thank you once again, and then
let me open a new page. I have to write. Let me open a new page. Okay, please go on.
Yeah, it's a very good evening to our cherished viewers, and also to my hometown, Denver. Greetings to everybody watching me. Yeah, so I want to start with an example from them. Back at the days at the small village, somewhere around 1980s, my cousin, and he's very popular. He's called Mosi. He built a house at the cost of 10,000.
In your village in the 1980s?
1980s, 10,000. That was the most beautiful building you could see at the time. So those days are for those who wrote middle school living certificate examination. After the exams, you definitely must go and stand in the middle of the house to take a picture. So nice, 4-bedroom house, very nice, 10,000. That was old Ghana cedis. Today, that is what 1 cedi.
1,000.
1 cedi, because you have to cancel 4 zeros.
10,000 is 1 cedi.
10,000 old Ghana cedis is 1 cedi today. Yeah, that's it, because you knock out 4 zeros.
4 zeros, okay.
So what President
Mahama... 10
cedis
is what? 10,000. 10 cedis old 10 cedis.
Old 10 cedis. Yeah, that is some persuasive.
Okay, no, old 10 cedis persuasive. So we are talking, you said 10,000 old cedis is 1 cedi.
1 cedi today. So the total, my cousin spent 10,000 to put up a 4-bedroom house in the early 1980s. And that is today 1 cedi. I just want us to look at President Mahama's logic of saying that during his time, if you divided total debt stock by the total number of, by the population, you would have gotten 4,000, but today it's 20,000. And he's using this to suggest
But both are new Ghana cedis, by the way.
Yeah, they are all new, but they are not at the same time.
Yeah, they're not at the same time,
Yeah, that's where I have a problem. In economics, we don't do that.
Why?
Yeah, I will come to that. Why we don't do that. So, 10,000. Today, are you telling me that somebody can go to them and put up a 4-bedroom house with 1 cedi?
No.
So, if I get 1 cedi and I'm not able to do that, are you saying that my brother, that cousin of mine, who used 1 cedi to put up 4-bedroom house in 1980s is better than me? If we want to use President Mahama's logic, then my brother is very good. So that if today I give you 1 cedi, you go to them and you are not able to put up 4-bedroom with it, then you are very reckless.
Shouldn't the calculation be how much money was he earning at the time? How much money are you earning at the time?
That is why.
What is the price of commodities?
Yeah, so this one, I think I used, if you look at the time frame, 1980 to now is about 42 years, isn't it? And so it makes the whole thing very clear.
Yeah, but that's too long.
No, it's not too long. It's still 1 cedi. So, I'm just going back to the old, assuming we're using the new Ghana cedi.
The point I'm making is that your brother built with 1 cedi.
Yeah, with 1 cedi.
When he was earning 50 pesos. That's the argument we'll make. You have 1 cedi when maybe you are earning 100 cedis. And you can't keep your 100 cedis. Only 1 cedi you have. Yeah, he was earning 50 pesos and he was able to raise 1 cedi. That's where the strength of that argument is.
So, the argument here is that 1 year's nominal values, we don't use it to compare another year's nominal values. We don't do that at all. So if 1 cedi yesterday, when within the year, if it is allowed that January I got 10,000 and I want to compare that one to 20,000 in August the same year, we call these nominal values. They are nominal values. The moment we move from 2022 to 2023, we don't compare nominal values. If you compare 1 year's nominal values to another year's nominal values, in economics we say you are suffering from money illusion. And so this analysis that the former president did, that's what economists we call it. If you did that, we say you suffered from what? Money illusion. And we all know what it means when we are talking about illusion. You know.
So why doesn't he have a point? I mean, I don't
know. No, he doesn't have a point.
Why?
Because if you use nominal values, you get it so wrong.
He's saying that his government owed X. Akufo-Addo's government owes far more.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that the 4,000 that he's talking about, it could be that during his time, that 4,000 is even more than the 20,000 today. You know, in economics,
I get the point you're making.
In economics, it's not about the nominal value; it's about the real value. How much the purchasing power of that money. So the 4,000 that he talked about
was $1,000.
If you compare
more than $1,000.
If you compare it to 20,000, you may be wrong, because for all you know, 20,000 today is even lower than the 4,000 in his time. It depends on what the 4,000 could buy those days and what the 20,000 can buy today. And that's why we don't compare nominal.
In dollar terms,
dollar also depreciates.
The 4,000 was still lower than the 20,000 today.
Dollar also depreciates. Dollar, so even if you use dollar, it's also depreciates. And so we don't do that. If you want to do meaningful analysis, we don't pick 1 year's nominal values and we compare it to another year's nominal values. In fact, that platform he had at FES, I had a lot of problem with it. So I even called the program director there, Ebo. I call him Ebo. I've forgotten the full name. I called him because it was on this same platform that President Mahama said that maybe in response to the so-called BOG that is collapsed, that when I come, I'm going to initiate, these were his words, I'm going to initiate zero central bank financing. We are already practicing zero central bank financing. And how do you initiate something that is already being done? It was on this same platform. You know.
Is it a school of economics?
No, FES.
Financial something?
Is it German. You know, we have Germany. They have two political groups. Institutions that have been helping.
Yeah, Freddie Norman.
Yeah. So yeah. The one at the Dankwa.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where he went. It was on their platform.
They are left wing.
Yeah,
they are left wing.
So it was there that
I know.
You know, and it's very unfortunate, seriously, because on that same platform, he said, "I'm going to initiate zero central bank financing." Well, we are already doing it.
Okay, let's get to the borrowing. So who is in more debt? Who has given Ghana a better debt profile?
So now, let me say that. If you go to an IMF, World Bank, and all those things, they are not interested in the nominal figures. They are not interested. They are interested in what they call debt to GDP ratio, and I will quickly come to that. But before then, let me run viewers through the debt situation. And these are figures from Ministry of Finance. It's available. Everybody can see it. President Adekum Kufuor, and I'm using dollar. If you use dollar, you see that we haven't added so much that when President Adekum Kufuor came to power, the total debt stock of Ghana was $7.1 billion. That was what he came to meet. At the time he was going, after 8 years, 2008, our total debt was about $8 billion.
He met 21 billion.
He met 7.1.
7.1
billion.
And
added about 900.
Yeah, okay.
And added about 900. So he added about 900. But
900 million.
Yeah. So he didn't even add more than $1 billion. But in reality, that is not what happened. When he came, when we went HEPIC, they canceled off about 6.4 billion of our debt. You know, and so he also
benefited from that.
Yeah, he also started borrowing, and it accumulated to the 8 billion that he left us. So we always say that he came to meet $7.1 billion, and he left around 8.07 billion. That was what he left. So he didn't add much. The interest payment wasn't a problem. Then in the 8 years that President Mills Mahama came, they are 8 years. At the time, they were hesitant, or President Mahama was hesitant.
So they started from 8 billion.
Yeah, they started from 8 billion, and they left $29.2 billion. That's how much they left for Nana Akufo-Addo. And so Nana Akufo-Addo inherited $29.2 billion US dollars. And today, at the end of September this year, our total debt stock stands at 51 billion. 51 billion. So in 7 years, Nanado has added about 22 billion. In 8 years, President Mahama added, President Mahama Mills added about 20, they added about 21 billion in 8 years, dollars. And so the last 7 years, Nanado has added more to the debt than President Mahama. He has added 22 billion. President Mahama Mills added 21 billion. You know.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So yeah, that is it. And when you see these figures, immediately you say that why did Nanado do that? Two things. Number one is that when Nanado came, all these 29.2 billion dollars every year we've been paying what we call interest payments. We have been making huge interest payments. And it may interest viewers to know that during President Mahama time, they went to the bond market. The cheapest coupon rate that they could, arrange to get for Ghana was over 10%. Ken Oforiatta, that people say he is not good, his highest is just a little over 8%. When he goes to the market, he negotiates well. Today, the over 10% coupon rate, 11%, that's what we are struggling to pay. Much of what we are paying today is not what Nanado has taken. More of what we are struggling to pay today is what President Mahama left, the 29.2 billion.
Because rates were high?
They were higher, and they are, almost all of them, the maturity, of the bonds are due. So we are paying. Most of what Nanado took, most of them we haven't started paying. Because sometimes they give you about 5 years, depending on the terms. So most of what Nanado has taken, we haven't started paying the interest. But almost all, I think all that President Mahama took, they are all matured and we are paying. And so now Nanado needs more money, not only for local consumption, but also for what? For the interest payments. And that's why he's taking so much. If we really even want to understand what happens to Nanado, as soon as Nanado came to power 2017, Ghana recorded positive primary balance. Anytime you record positive primary balance, what we say is that you've been able to get enough to take care of the current needs.
That's what it means.
Yeah. And so 2017, our total revenue exceeded expenditure by 434 million. Yet, Nanado had to borrow because we had interest payments to make. And so for the first time in 17 years, Ghana recorded positive primary balance. The first time in 15 years, Ghana recorded positive primary balance in 2017. It meant that 2017, we borrowed to service our debt, but we were able to, mobilize enough revenue to take care of our needs during the year. So 2017, we borrowed only to pay interest. 2018, we borrowed only to pay interest because 2018 as well, we recorded positive primary balance. 2019, we recorded another positive primary balance. 8 years before Nanado came, every year, we were borrowing, number one, to service the debt, and number one, to take care of our needs. So let me put it this way.
For essential consumption?
We were borrowing to eat and borrowing also to pay debt. But the first 3 years of Nanado government, we were borrowing only to pay debt because we were able to mobilize enough revenue to take care of what we had to eat. And so it is clear that even though in 7 years, Nanado has added 22 billion, and President Mahama, in the whole of that 8 years, also, they added 21 billion. But at that time, the interest payment, because they came to meet 8 billion, President Kufuor left $8 billion. In fact, I have seen certain figures going around that President Kufuor left 10 billion, President Mahama left 39. No, that is not it. What I'm putting out here are
the correct one.
Yeah, good. And so that is the picture. Again, let me also say that anytime your economy becomes bigger, you need to spend more. when you were alone, how much were you spending? Maybe, you were not spending as much as after you married, you started having children. So the moment your GDP becomes bigger, you need to spend more. And spending more goes with what? More. That is why President Kufuor time. When President Kufuor came, the total GDP, Ghana, our GDP was $4.9 billion.
Yeah, we know that, 4 billion. Then it went to 16 billion at the time.
It went to 16. But 2008, it went to 28.7 billion at the time he was exiting. In current prices, it was 28.7 billion dollars. Yes. And then 2016, our GDP went to 56. And so we have to understand why President Kufuor added only 1 billion and President Mahama added 21 billion. Because the GDP...
A jump was significant.
It has gone up to 56. When Nana Addo came, it has also moved up. In fact, by 2020, the GDP has gone up to 70 billion. And currently, as I speak with you, at the end of 2021, I don't have 2022 figures. At the end of 2021, our GDP has shot up to $79 billion. So now it has become bigger. And once it becomes bigger, definitely you need to spend more. When I came to Accra around 2000, how many double roads, dual carriages were we having here? Maybe I can talk about Circle to Odoko, that high road. Today we can talk about several of them. President Kufuor came, did Malam Johnson Tetekwasi, and then he extended it to Kaswa. He also started the Medina one through the mountains. Now we have quite a number of them. We are developing. The economy is becoming much more complex. And indeed, I don't expect that when President Mahama comes back, because now our GDP is 79, in the next 8 years, if NDC should get opportunity to rule, they are going to spend over 50 billion. They will borrow more than 50 billion. They can't borrow and sustain the economy with the 21 billion that they did when they were in power. And so all these are nominal figures. IMF says that we don't need the nominal figures. Because today, I'm here with my nephew who just completed his MBA. If this guy goes to bank and they give him 10,000 and maybe they give him another 1 year to pay, it might be a problem to him. But if you give me 10,000, you haven't done anything to me. In fact, as I'm about stepping out, you give me 10,000, I don't think I will appreciate it so much because, you see, in the last few days, I have paid school fees, I have sent this money to my mother, I have sent this, I've done that. I spent so much. So 10,000 is a peanut. But to him, it will be big. But maybe he doesn't spend on anybody apart from the girlfriend, if he even has one. I'm not too sure.
Maybe he may have two.
Sometimes they have two. So that is the problem. But in my case, I have my siblings, their children, my mother, and my wife's mother. I have so many people to, And so because of that, my bill is higher. That's why 10,000 means nothing to me. As the economy becomes bigger, that's what happens. And so in order not to get confused, and IMF says that, we don't need to use nominal figures. Let us use what we call debt to GDP ratio. So at any point in time, we are not so interested in the nominal. Let us find out in total how much you have. And if we divide that one by GDP, multiply by 100. So where do you stand? And they say that if your debt to GDP ratio is 60%, you are in danger. So you have to be careful. That was where we were, and countries that were there, they describe them as epic countries, heavily indebted, poor countries, those with debt to GDP ratio over 60%. Indeed, if you come to West Africa here, WAMI, West African Monetary Institute, they say that they are magnanimous. They say that between 60 and 70 is a danger zone. But to them, anytime you are only in danger when you go beyond 70. So when the debt to GDP ratio goes beyond 70, we say your debt has become unsustainable. These are the terms that we use. If it, in the eyes of IMF, if it goes beyond 60, your debt has become unsustainable. Yeah. And what does
where are we now?
What does it mean? If your debt has gone beyond 70% and your debt is unsustainable, it means that interest payments becomes a problem to you as a country. Anytime you have to service your debt, you do so at the detriment of very essential services you can provide to your citizens. And we recently were there. But let us go back and look at where we have been with the debt to GDP ratio, so that we will. I don't know. They will see whether we have to still clap for President Mahama.
Okay, so let's now time up, please. We are looking at the debt. Let's now consider the debt to GDP ratio. That's what is on the screen now.
Yeah, but I wish we could go. Where are we getting this from? It was uttered by Honorable Sektepe. And so let's see this. Say 9th February 2016. Yeah. He uttered this. Okay. You know, sometimes when you talk about Bank of Ghana figures, people are insulting you. But this was uttered. And it is available online.
Honorable Sektepe. So let's see the
let's see the debt
next
to GDP
page.
Ratio. President Kufuor came to meet debt to GDP ratio at 182%. 182. I'm recently.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was where he. That was
our
where we
debt to GDP.
So the so-called 70%
debt has surpassed the GDP itself.
There's
to be 182% of the GDP.
Your total. So that was where. So the so-called 70% maximum that we don't need to cross.
Yeah, we had gone beyond that.
We were 82. I mean 182. But these figures are in 2006 constant prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
182.
Let's get the document back. Yes.
182. And as soon as President Kufuor came, he started declining because we went to HIPIC. He started forgiving us of our debt. But the year 2006, it had declined to 26%. 2006, debt to GDP ratio. And this was the lowest in over 30 years.
Well, that was very impressive.
Yeah. Very low. Unfortunately, President Kufuor, during his last 2 years, started borrowing. And so it went up to 32. And then DC never forgave him for this. There was a guy, a young man, who was doing something, setting the records or whatever straight.
Fifth equity.
Yeah, and would always say reckless expenditure. Just 2 years, debt to GDP ratio was 26. Today, it had gone to 32. Reckless expenditure. And so everybody. And so I was wondering why they never made reference to the fact that they left it at 182. They were much more interested in President Kufuor moving it from 26 to 32. But they didn't want to look at the 182.
Their record.
No,
their record.
That one they don't care. Anytime you make reference to such figures, they will tell you we don't eat figures. That's what they will tell you. Now, when they came, because they had complained so much about President Kufuor's expenditure and borrowing, we all thought that they were going to keep us somewhere below 32, debt to GDP ratio. Before we could say that, by the year 2014, and this is something I wish President Mahama, somebody will go and tell him if he's not listening to me. And if he is listening to me, the year 2014, Ghana went back into debt crisis. Our debt
71%.
71. Because the whole thing is 70. The danger is 70. Don't go beyond. I'm using the WAMI.
So the 35% that NDC complained about of President Kufuor, they went 32, but they went to 40, and 48, and 56, and 71.
And it wasn't a problem. So we were in danger again, 2014. And we were downgraded. One of these days, I'll come and explain our junk status. You hear them say that we are now in junk status, we can't go for. Look, how can you go? It was this process that sent us almost where we were. Because at the time President Kufuor was hesitant, our economy was rated by Standard & Poor's as B+ with stable outlook. So we were very high. When NDC came, we moved down 7 steps to B- negative outlook by April 2015. We were in danger. And that was the last level. The next downward grading would have taken us to the junk status. But they were lucky because April 2015, we went to an IMF. And by November 2015, things started improving, and then we were rated B- with stable outlook. So we move up, we change an outlook from B- negative to B- stable. When Akufo-Addo came, we move up 3 steps from B- positive outlook to B- negative outlook to B stable. So you see.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of life received in